In today's episode, we're going to be talking about my top 5 Instagram artists that I follow artists, top 5. Yeah, if there is anyone I've missed out, definitely leave me a comment underneath the video and I'll go and check out their profile. Let's jump into the video. Top 5 artists to follow on Instagram. So first up, number 5 is David Cho. He's well known for his expressive, spontaneous kind of work. He does a lot of big murals. He does some watercolors, smaller pieces. He's had a kind of crazy life. He got lucky with some Facebook stuff. He was in jail in Japan, loads of other stuff. If you want to know more about him, there's a really good documentary where his friend followed him around for about 10 years. I think it's called Dirty Hands, The Art and Crimes of David Cho. Also, you've got 2 really good interviews with David Cho, one with Joe Rogan and one with Howard Stern. His Instagram page, his stories are always full. You know, you've got the little bars at the top. He's just got like 20 a day, a mixture of different things that he's done for television. There's one that springs to mind where he's in a warehouse, and I think he's just bought this warehouse, and basically he just invites people into the warehouse to go absolutely crazy with paint. So there's like puddles of paint everywhere, they're flicking paint, fire extinguishers, and he's just a really fun artist. He's always seems to have fun when he's making his art. He's always posting updates of newer work, but mostly it's his stories that kind of stand out. Well worth checking out. Link below, David Cho. In at number 4, it's Taylor Anton White. His work is really large scale, abstract. He uses a lot of embroidery, found objects, IKEA bags. He's sewing them all together. He's splashing paint on them. He's using marker pen on them. He's using oil pastel on them. He's just having a lot of fun while he's making his work. You can tell that he's having fun when he's making his work when you look at it on Instagram. It's quite nice because you feel like you're in the studio with him. He's often doing a selfie while he's playing around on the canvas. He has a very childlike kind of approach to his art. But you look at the art in a gallery space and it looks very new, it looks very fresh. The way that he pieces all of this stuff together is very elegant and kind of sophisticated, and it's quite nice to continuously get those updates where you feel like seeing someone in the studio having fun. I'm going to go into the studio and have some fun. It's quite inspiring, so I would check him out. In at number 3, it is Robert Nava. His work is, generally speaking, large scale, very naive. It's the kind of work that really divides opinion, which I think is quite a good thing. His work literally looks like a 5-year-old has made it, but it's this return to a childlike imagination, which is something that I like most about his work, and his absolute confidence in the visual language that he has, that he feels belongs to him. He does these kind of mythical characters or like vehicles, and it just reminds me of how I used to draw. But it's a very recognizable and distinctive style. When you're flicking through Instagram and you see one of his pieces, it's very obvious that it's his work, and it'd be really interesting to see where his career develops and where he goes with that, because he's starting to get a bit of recognition, and I think he's starting to get collectors pick up on what he's doing. So I would add him and just see how he does social media, maybe learn something off it. The thing I like is it feels like you're in the studio with him. The same with Taylor A. White. You're in the studio, he's creating, he's done half a painting, he'll share it with you. It's not this thing of like, here's my final piece, that's it, that's all I'm going to share with you. It's a relationship with the audience which seems very authentic. Yeah, I mean, check him out. It's the kind of thing you'll really like or you won't like, so check him out and let me know what you think. In at number 2, it's Bast. I can't find much information about Bast. Bast is quite a elusive character. His website pretty much just throws you onto his Instagram, or there's a shop, but everything's always sold out. He's been a street artist for about 15 years. He's been doing a lot of wheat paste posters, kind of these mixture of like Disney characters, commercial logos and marks, and making characters out of all of these and collaging them together and then photocopying them and then pasting them on the street. He seemingly kind of took himself out of that scene and started to create more paintings. The paintings are, again, this very childlike approach. You can see that they're, in the same way to kind of Basquiat, they're kind of blanking out bits of the canvas, probably working over and over and over on different layers, but once they make the marks that they like, they're going to keep them. I can really relate to this kind of process of making art. I really like the visual language. It's all sort of dragging little bits and bobs from street culture, graffiti culture. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. if you like kind of messy paintings, naive characters, this kind of thing, Bast is going to be really up your street. In terms of Instagram, Bast mainly uses posts. I'd say out of all of the 5 artists I'm mentioning, Bast's approach to social media is very much like a portfolio or a sketchbook. He doesn't seem to use stories much. He doesn't really give a process too much into his studio work. Often when he's showing the paintings being made, he'll have like this mannequin that's kind of like a puppet that will just like throw paint across at the canvas. So it kind of gives you the idea that this is Bast, but yeah, his work is really exciting to me. He's done some really interesting collaborations with another artist called Paul Insect, where they made little puppets that were kind of like dancing around to drum and bass and in these kind of street scenes that they handmade. Well worth checking out. Again, you're either going to love Bast or not like Bast at all, so let me know what you think. In at number 1,
Mr. Bingo.
What can you say about Mr. Bingo? He is very funny. I've put Mr. Bingo at number 1 because in terms of social media and artists, I think he's using it in a very fresh way and has done for many years. I've been following Mr. Bingo for a long time, and I always liked the way that he was able to inject a very British humour into illustration. Mr. Bingo will take the piss out of anyone. He has this amazing connection to his audience where he's very honest and he just likes to have fun and to have a laugh, and everything is about making people laugh. Mr. Bingo is probably best known for a campaign he did called Hate Mail, where he asked people to pay him to send them offensive postcards. To explain in more detail, he basically would draw something with some sort of insult that was directed at the recipient. He made a book out of all of the postcards, which he crowdfunded. He raised the funds for the book with Kickstarter, and he made a rap video where he was dressed as a postman and rapped his entire campaign. The reason why Mr. Bingo is at the top of my list is because the way that he uses Instagram to interact and engage his audience is completely original. On a platform that is full of people that are posing, taking selfies, taking themselves seriously, Mr. Bingo is a breath of fresh air. Interesting story, when I was at university studying illustration, I discovered Mr. Bingo's art and I tried to connect with him, and I asked him if I could do some sort of work experience with him. I asked if I could visit his studio and get an insight into his process and materials and this kind of thing. I got a response back from him saying that would be okay, but as I'm currently working out of my bedroom, it might be better that we go to the pub and have a few beers and talk about art instead. Unfortunately, it never happened, but that's the kind of person that he is. He will reach out to people, he will meet up with people, he's a real person. He's not trying to become this art superstar. He's quite happy to make work that he likes, that makes people laugh and make a career out of it, and I think he deserves a lot of respect for that. Okay, that's it for today. That's my top 5 artists to follow on Instagram. Thank you very much for watching. As I said at the beginning of this video, if there's anyone that I've missed out, make sure that you leave a comment below and I'll go and check them out. If you yourself are an artist and you'd like me to have a look at your page, send me a direct message on Instagram and I'll be happy to have a look. That's it. Yeah, cheers. Bye.